Call Haloyam La Yahweh Bahasham Hamashiach Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rachak Kodash Brakatah Yahweh Brakatah Yahweh Shai Brakatah Rachak Kodash Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rachak Kodash. Shalom to the elder apostles, great millstone. Shalom to the Akim wa Akwathium. Shalom. So we'll make a quick video. Going into real quick, making that link. I mentioned in the video prior that I was going to make a video about that when I went into the for the definition, well, the description of Esau being ferocious and linking it with the beast here in Revelation chapter 13. So just real quick, didn't want to make it too long. Just want to go ahead and touch on that to give that good understanding and insight about this beast. Revelation 13:3. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. So this beast is the Roman Empire. It was wounded to death back in the approximately 300 BC. 300 AD, and they call it the Dark Ages. So for like about approximately 1,000 years, they were out of power. The Roman Empire fell, and that was during a period they call it the Dark Ages, the Middle Ages, where they say no light, no knowledge was prevalent, but that's a lie. It was just when they fell out of power. It was nations still around, still alive and well, and that was when the so-called black nobility, when we ruled Europe for 1,000 years, because King James was a brother who had the Bible translated from the ancient Hebrew and Greek texts. So they were wounded to death during that period of the Middle Ages, the so-called Middle Ages, Dark Ages, whatever you want to go with, whatever Esau he calls it, whatever he feel like calling it at that time. But for 1,000 years he was shut up and is up in them caves in Mount Georgia, Russia. And so Revelation chapter 20 and verse 2 says, and he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. So this verse here links all of the descriptions of Satan and the devil and the serpent from the garden, along with the dragon. So if the dragon is which is a part of the beast, the dragon is America today. And the dragon gave, let's read here, verse 3, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season. That little season is when he came out of the Renaissance. Came out of the caves, and it became, he called that time period the Renaissance. That's a French word which means rebirth. So he came out of the caves, he was born again, and that's how that dragon gave the beast its power. And we go back to Revelation 13. Okay. So verse 3 again. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his wound, and his deadly wound, was healed. How was it healed? Through them, the Renaissance, the rebirth. And all the world wondered after the beast. So he came out of the caves, the Renaissance, rebirth, whitewashed everything, iconoclasm, when he whitewashed all the images of the Holy Scriptures, of the Most High, His only begotten Son, with that Caesar Borgia picture, which is supposed to be Jesus, which is Jesus isn't the Messiah's name, it's Yahweh, and whitewashed the angels and the Israelites. And it's a book called Russian Icons. You can get that off of Amazon. It's about, last time I checked, it's like $1,500, I believe. The price keeps going up because that book exposes them for all of the iconoclasm and whitewashing all of the images of us during the during the so-called Dark Ages, during the that 1,000 years that he had got taken out of power when the Roman Empire fell. Those 1,000 years, the Russian icons, because we was over there in Russia, so-called what you would call Russia today, and different and all throughout Europe, ruling. So yeah, so that's what happened, and then his deadly wound was healed was when they came out the caves, rebirth, Renaissance, and then they came back into power, and then the extension of the Roman Empire was through the dragon through America, because it's run the exact same way with the Congress and the three branches of the government. They have the whole, back in Rome, it was different from all the other beasts because it was the first of its kind with the political structure that it had back, all the old kingdoms, the ancient kingdoms before it had kings rule, and then their bloodline would rule after them. That was how, we did it in Israel, and that's how other nations did it too. And then the Roman Empire came and changed the whole game, and they had, Congress, they had a Senate, the 300 seat like Congress, where they will all commune and talk every day, and like they do in the Senate today. So that beast was different from any beast that was before it, and that's how it was reborn. That's how the Roman Empire was rebirth, was healed through the political structure and everything how it's run here, so-called democracy here in America. So America is that red dragon, which the beast, the Roman Empire, was healed again, because this is modern day Rome. But Salakia, so when you go into this word in the world, right here it says, and all the world wondered after the beast. Everybody try to come to America. Everybody is in bed with America, following all of the customs, philosophies, the economic business that they do with America, in bed with the great whore that sit upon the beast. And that's how they wander after the beast. And then they come over here, get clean shaven, just like so-called white man, and they all come over here and put on suits and ties and be in Wall Street and all kind of economical, all the entrepreneurial businesses, different businesses come over here and make a lot of money, and merchants make a lot of money through this system. And that's how they wander after the beast, through the philosophy, through Christianity and the different forms and all of that. So that's how they wander after the beast. And then when you go into that word beast, the description here says it's the Greek word therion up here at the top first. Therion is a Greek word, and so the description is an animal, a wild animal, wild beast. And then in this instance, this is what it's talking about here: metaphor for a brutal, bestial man, a savage man, ferocious. So a ferocious man. So we know what man is a savage, the K beast, so-called white man, how he drop bombs on people on Japan, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. That's a ferocious thing to do, to drop a nuclear bomb on the people, And then not to mention all of the heinous crimes against the Israelites, so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians, how he enslaved us, slaughtered everybody over here, put the Native Americans on reservations, put the so-called Hispanics on the barrios and brothers in the ghettos after we built this country. And so when you go to Genesis chapter 25, to make that link real quick to Esau and the beast of Revelation. So 25, Genesis 25 and 27, you go into that word plain for Jacob. I did in another video, my first video that I did a while back. So that word plain goes into actually perfect, complete. One who lacks nothing in physical strength, beauty, sound, wholesome, complete, morally innocent, having integrity. We know Esau has no integrity. And so that goes into keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. And then when you go down here, you drop, let me see, where is that? When you drop down in this Gesenius Hebrew Chaldee lexicon, you go on here, get the description, and about halfway, the midway point, parentheses, it says, Jacob was an upright man, dwelling in tents, where appears to indicate the milder and placid disposition of Jacob, as opposed to the more ferocious character of Esau. There's ferocious. So The only man of all the nations that's referred to as ferocious is Esau. So Esau, Edom, so-called white man. I did another video on the channel. You can check that out too. It's called A Brief History of Esau. Goes into who Esau is, break it down through the scriptures and through historical reference and books. You can check that out too. So I made that link between the description of the beast in Revelation. The same in here, the same description of the beast in Revelation 13:3 is the same description for Esau in Genesis. So it lets you know that this beast is Esau Edom, so-called white man, and that all the nations are following after this beast. Everybody's following after Esau, and so that's who's going to be destroyed, and that's who the beast is. Babylon the Great, the whore that sit upon many waters, and those waters goes into different nations, all the other heathen nations that wander after the beast. So I didn't want to make this video too long. I want to touch on that, just expose that and show who, make that link between the ferocious beast of Revelation and the beast, and the ferocious beast in Revelation and the ferocious man on the earth, Esau, Edom, so-called white man. So with that, I hope this video was edifying. To the next video, say shalom.